Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Planeswalkers Pub, the show that has figured out exactly how much protein is inside the protein hydra. Spoilers, it's not as much as you think. I'm your host, Aaron.
I'm Eric.
Howdy, it's RJ. Today we are going to be talking about our favorite cards in each color of Magic. But first, let's talk about our signature card.
Yes, every episode of the Planeswalker Pub will feature a signature card that may or may not relate to the episode's topic.
Today's signature card is Chronozoa. Chronozoa costs 3 and blue. It's an illusion. It has flying, vanishing 3, and when Chronozoa is put into a graveyard from play, if it had no time counters on it, put 2 tokens into play that are copies of it. It's a 3/3.
So this doesn't exist then because it's an illusion?
It's an illusion.
Illusion.
That got me so much. So kind of like most of our other cards, this card's actually really, really good. I wouldn't
You
classify...
didn't say your signature phrase, Aaron.
That's because I don't think, out of all the other ones, this one isn't as dope as the other one. It's very, very cool, but the problem is it does take a bit of finagling. Yeah. For those of you that actually don't know about Vanishing, when it enters the battlefield, it comes in with that many counters. This case is 3. And then on your upkeep, you actually remove a counter from it. And then if it has none, it'll just sacrifice itself. That does technically count as a die trigger, which is kind of cool. One thing we actually thought about is putting this with Silent something. So
Solemnity. Solemnity costs 2 and a white, and it says players can't get counters. Counters can't be put on artifacts, creatures, enchantments, or lands.
But with this and Solemnity on the field, he'll basically just come in with 0 counters on him. Now, the downside is that you won't trigger the Vanishing, which means that you won't be able to remove a counter in order to kill it. But if you've got some, like, one of the altars on the field, you can basically just sacrifice him. He'll go to the graveyard with no counters, and then he'll come back in, or rather the 2 tokens will come back in with no counters, sacrifice them, more tokens, more tokens, more tokens, basically getting infinite germs, which is great. Which, by the way, why is this not classified as a germ?
I don't know. It looks like
it looks like a germ, right?
It looks like a cell. Like, it looks like you went into my anatomy textbook from 3rd grade and put a cell in there.
I'm pretty sure that was the idea of this, is that it divides and makes more of itself each time, over time, so that's where the Vanishing comes in. It's okay. I mean, it's a 3/3 with flying, and if you wait long enough, you'll get more 3/3s with flying.
And the fact that it has flying is also really, really good for, like, a giant germ. But because if this was, like, just on the ground, it'll be not great. But because it's got flying, it's like you can kind of sort of justify it. I don't know. It's in my chaos deck because this is one of the cooler cards that I know about.
This is in your chaos deck?
Yeah. Anyway, switching over to our main topic. So today we're going to be talking about our favorite cards in each color as well as colorless. We may have done something slightly similar to this beforehand where we're talking about the best cards in each color, but just because it's technically the best doesn't mean it's the coolest or one of our favorites. So let's actually start us off with blue.
Let me start, the blue player.
Sure. Let's have the complete mono blue player start us off.
All right. My blue card is Biden of Thassa. Biden of Thassa costs 2 and 2 blue. It's a legendary enchantment artifact, so it can get destroyed by more things. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. It also says, which doesn't matter, 1 and a blue. Tap it. Creatures your opponents control attack this turn if able. It's a card draw card for hitting people with creatures.
Yeah.
My specialty.
It's also that one of the blue you might not think matters, but if your opponent has, like, a creature that they just don't want to hold back, or they're like more of us a combo deck, like I've got Thrasios or whatever, cool. On your turn, I'm going to make him attack, unless you can tap him down for some other reason. And usually in Thrasios decks, they can't do that. So it's a nice way of kind of just getting them to swing in. Downside is that they're not forced to attack just you. They can basically attack whoever they want. So they can attack into an open person, or they can make a deal or something like that, since they're saying that creatures don't die. But it can be kind of cool, just for one of the blue to tap it.
They can also just attack you, be like, you make me attack? Well,
yeah, I'm gonna attack
it's all
you.
coming to you. And you're just like, oh.
Yeah, that matters too. But drawing a card for each creature hit is dumb. I have that in Locust God, and it's hilarious because I swing them with like 12 Locusts. Cool, draw 12 cards, get 12 untapped Locusts. What's good?
Right.
Seems like a lot of fun.
It is.
Sucks that it's not in the right colors for Marisi.
Yeah,
You
this
don't
is
really have that
kind of
many-
an odd effect for a blue card, and there's several like it too,
Well,
like
blue,
Coastal Piracy.
Yeah, and blue just likes to draw cards in general, but yeah, you agree. It's like on attacking.
Yeah, it's a very green effect.
It's from Theros. It's from OG Theros, which is blue was really big on big scary creatures. That was the deck with all the great Leviathans
And stuff like that,
and
yeah.
octopuses and things like that. So,
Sarah, I think they're called octopi.
but yeah, that was all about big scary creatures. So I'm not surprised that Biden of Thassa has to do with combat.
Yeah, I like it. Almost as much as I like my blue card, which is Telepathy. Single blue for an enchantment. Your opponents play with their hands revealed. So, I mean, granted, this is kind of hilarious, but a lot of the cards on here are considered memes. It's also just because I like causing as much chaos as I possibly can in most games. Telepathy is just a good card.
Because he plays Send Triplets Turbo. He wants to know exactly what you have so he can take it from you.
I've actually refused. Several people have been like, "Hey, I'm going for trades or whatever." And I could have grabbed this in triplets, but I've refused it because you don't want me building that deck. But this card is amazing just because your opponents literally just have their hand, they then put it onto the table, and then spread it out this way everyone can see it. So it's not just you. Like, this isn't like a Thought Scour or anything. That's just where you yourself, not Thought Scour.
Gataxian Probe.
Thank you. It's not like it's a Gataxian Probe where you're physically seeing one person or anything in that sense. This is a permanent effect as long as Telepathy is on the field. And if they draw any new cards, they then are just revealed, put next to their hand or whatever. It does get a little complicated with the board state because, like, if they've got a land in their hand, it's like right next to their lands usually. So you have to be like, okay, was that actually in your hands, out on the field? But it's a great card. Also, too, you don't reveal your hand, which means that you can kind of keep up some of your mysteries and everything in that sense. It's a very good political tool.
And you love the politics, don't you, Aaron?
There's something political about telepathy.
Are you going to make magic great again?
I'm going to make Magic great again.
Everybody gets to. I get to see, or everyone gets to see everyone's hands except mine,
Yeah.
Mr. Ken.
That's very
That's very political. That's
Yeah.
because it's like there's no more sneaky, there's no more conniving, there's no more like, everyone can kind of theorize and think, okay, if I were them, knowing the board state in their hand, I could do this, 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 and this. Like, and if someone has to actually spend a removal spell to get rid of my telepathy, that's making all of my other enchantments safer, so I'm okay with it.
So I cheated with blue. I chose two that were very similar. The first one is Traumatize. 3 and 2 blue sorcery. Target player puts half their deck into the graveyard. The second is Increasing Confusion. Also a sorcery for X and a blue. Target player puts X cards from the top of their deck into the graveyard. If it was cast from the graveyard, it puts double X instead. And it has Flashback, which is the same casting cost of X and a blue. These cards are dope because coming off of my Yu-Gi-Oh days, the idea of just putting half of someone's deck into their graveyard was just insane.
Yeah. Especially in Commander where it's just like, just to cast Traumatize is like, hey, count out your deck, yeah, take half of that and throw it away. It's nuts, provided they don't have like, a Titan or something else to shuffle their deck back in. But yeah, it's scary.
Let's shuffle back in when you have Muldrotha.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be amazing. You just use. Does it say target player? I'm assuming. Because if it says target player, then the majority of the player.
Yes,
can
it's target player.
Then yeah, at that point
You can
you're
traumatize
targeting
yourself.
with that. I mean, it's super dangerous, but it's like cool. I'm going to traumatize. Awesome. I'm going to flash in Leyline of the Void. Good luck with that.
I don't know how you flashed in Leyline of the Void, but...
I have a Valkyrie Ori. Leave it alone.
Oh, yeah.
It's fine. Or I got my other Leyline of Anticipation or whatever. I drew both of them.
You're playing Dimir, yeah.
Basically. Thoughts on milling half your library?
Mill.
It's great. What you got for red?
You're asking me what I have for red.
You
Yes,
occasionally,
it's your
you
turn.
occasionally play red.
Oh my god, you guys really aren't getting it. Okay, my card is red. It costs 1 red. It's from Original Mirrodin.
Oh, wait.
It
I got it.
states-
Let me think. Single red.
Lightning bolt.
No, I don't think it's lightning bolts. Is it shock? I think shock's one of single red, right? I think it's shock. No, I got it. Lightning strike. I figured it out.
Lightning Strike, I think, costs 1 in a red, so you're
It
wrong.
does.
It's 1 red. It's from Original Mirrodin.
Well, here's
Okay,
the
stop
it's,
the joke.
It's Mass Hysteria.
It's Mass Hysteria.
It's Mass Hysteria.
It's Mass Hysteria.
All
Best-
creatures have haste.
Yeah, all creatures have haste. It's the best card in the game. It is a political tool. You wouldn't think it is, but it is. It's a political tool. It's a haste enabler.
For not just your stuff, but everyone's stuff.
And it's 1 red mana, so you can play it on turn 1. And if someone removes it, they're removing something that costs 1 mana. It's an enchantment. All it does is give haste. It helps them too.
It's the same principle like my telepathy, where it's like, if you want to remove it, you're welcome to it, but I don't recommend it.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, Mass Hysteria is great. It's one of those like serious double-edged sword cards though, because you could be playing it, you're like, cool, this helps my deck, but it's also too like the next person in line is like the crazy elf player or whatever. Because I actually used Mass Hysteria with Tom, and he was like, oh, sick, Llanowar Elves into this creature, into that creature, into this creature. Say go, like it.
He just dumped out his whole hand of elves.
I mean, they're elves, so it's just a bunch of mana dorks into like a Zori. Like he got a Zori basically like turn 2. It was nuts. It was a hilarious game, and we still lost. But that's besides the point. Like it was great.
You know what you say in those situations? You're welcome.
Yeah, basically.
What can I say
Except
except you're welcome?
But yeah, Mass Hysteria is very, very cool. I definitely like it. I try not to play it because giving your opponent haste is not the greatest thing, but some people can't use it, so it's always good.
It's probably something I definitely put in a Gruul deck because green creatures are usually beefier than red ones.
Yeah. Plus, the ability, like I said, just, turn 1 using your mana dorks is always great, or even like using Mom or something. Just, there's so many things that you want to be able to use right away that you can't because it's have haste. Mm-hmm. And then this just gives everything haste, which is great. My card, which is going to be Pyrohemia. So it's 2 red for an enchantment. At the end of turn, if no creatures are in play, sacrifice Pyrohemia. That sucks, but that's besides the point. For a single red, Pyrohemia deals 1 damage to each creature and each player. So for starters, this is inside of my Torbrand Fire Prison deck, which is great. Or Burning Prison. I don't know. I think it's like
you won't escape these prison bars because they're made of fire.
Exactly. Like, it's great. Pyro is one of those cards that I saw when I was just starting out Magic, and I've always wanted to play it because it just seems like just so powerful. Like, it's a board wipe that escalates depending on how much you put into it. Like, yes, it hits your own creatures, which does kind of suck, but if you kind of manipulate it, or if you don't have that many creatures or whatever, you can kind of just slowly chip away at your opponent's stuff. It's something that people, as soon as it's on the field, they're like, okay, well, I can't put down this creature or that creature. How many open mana does he actually have? Can I utilize this before he uses Pyrohemia? And the fact that you can kind of, if there's no creature on the battlefield, even if it's like not your turn, it just says at the end of the turn. If it's like, Eric's turn or whatever, I use Pyrohemia and kill everything, then on his turn, end step, it'll disappear. However, you can kind of gauge it, where it's like, okay, you've got a 1/1, a 2/2, and a 3/3. I'm going to only put 2 into this way the 3/3 survives. So Pyrohemia also survives. Like, it's great. And now I can actually use it because I'm running red.
Yeah. And with your commander, it does 2 damage to everything. And it sucks, and I hate it, and it's just bad.
Because with Torb on the field, it'll deal 3, because Pyrohemia is what's dealing the damage. It'll deal 3 damage to my opponent's creatures, but only 1 to mine. And Torb is like a 2/4. So I can basically get up to like X = 9, blow up the entire world, and Torb still stays alive, and so is my Pyrohemia. Like, it's so good.
If only you were in Boros, and then you could play Gisela, Blade of Goldenite, and just deal double damage, and you take half.
Yeah.
Sadly, it wouldn't count out the 1 damage that your stuff's taking, but it would still double it.
Yes. Now, the downside is the fact that it also targets players as well. So if someone is at 3 life or whatever, you can just Pyrohemia for 3 and kill them. What you got for red?
The thing I got for red is the reason I want Planeswalkers to be commanders. Chandra Awakened Inferno.
You and this fucking card, dog.
Chandra Awakened Inferno is 4 and 2 red. Legendary Planeswalker Chandra comes out with 6 loyalty. This spell can't be countered. +2. Each opponent gets an emblem with, at the beginning of your upkeep, this emblem deals 1 damage to you. -3. Chandra Awakened Inferno deals 3 damage to each non-elemental creature. Or -X. Chandra Awakened Inferno deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker. If a permanent dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead. So much versatility. Either damages players,
It's
damages the whole board, or damages a single target.
So he says so much versatility, yet and still it's cool. Chandra drops +1. You all get an emblem. Next turn +1. You all get an emblem. Next turn
+2.
Yeah, +2. It's where's the +2? Like, come on. Emblems are annoying because you can't interact with them. You can't touch them. They are on you permanently, and they're on you. So even if he pluses 2, we all get an emblem, then we kill Eric, we still have the emblem, we still burn. Like, it's dumb.
Just play Karn Liberated and restart the game.
Yeah, start the game.
I don't think anyone can convince me to be like, hey, I'll restart the game so we get rid of those emblems. I'm like, yeah, but then you get all the fun stuff? No. I'll just take the damage. Like, it's... That card's stupid. The fact that it can't be countered kind of sucks.
Well, they needed something because Chandra's historically not had great Planeswalker cards.
She just burnt. She's a fire mage. She
And
just
this is
burns
a
stuff.
mythic, so you gotta, you're playing with power if you're using a mythic. Except for the 50-cent mythics in Theros.
Yeah, we don't talk about those. I don't know. I like the emblem. It's really, really cool. I don't think anyone uses any of the other abilities because there's no point.
I don't know, 3 damage board wipe isn't bad.
I guess. To kill the littler things that are coming at you. Switching over to whites.
My white card will be Odric, Master Tactician. Odric costs 2 and 2 white, and he states he's a legendary creature, human soldier. He has first strike, and whenever Odric, Master Tactician, and at least 3 other creatures attack, you choose which creatures block this combat and how those creatures block.
All right,
he's
so
a
there's
3/4.
There's 2 different. I think there's like 2 or 3 different objects.
There's 2 different objects,
Is this
yeah.
2? So
This
it's like
is the bad
this
one.
this is quote unquote the bad one because the other one, like
Gives a bunch of keywords to your entire
Team or
if
whatever,
If
if they
one of
have
them
it.
has it, yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the downside is that you're basically swinging out all the time because it says with 3 other creatures. Most of the time it's just the 2. So like him and 2 buddies. This one's like him and 3 of his friends. Like that's a full on posse at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, he has to swing with 3 other creatures?
Yep, him and 3 other creatures, you get to control combat.
It's a raiding party, like real talk.
Ugh. I mean...
Like I said, he's not the good one, but I love it. This is a pet card I played in Standard ages ago because I ran a Selesnya tokens, and it just did some work.
I could see this in the Selesnya token deck. Even a mono white deck, they generate soldier tokens like crazy, so...
He was my first deck outside of a precon.
Yeah.
He was my soldier. He was my soldier commander before I switched it around a million times. Took it
Poor
apart.
deck. That poor deck. It deserved better.
Now I have 3 pages in my binder that are just mono white cards.
I mean, the fact that you get to manipulate combat is very crazy because it's like you can choose who blocks, how they block. Like, it's basically similar to...
banding?
that. I was also going to reference the equipment that actually pulls in a creature when the creature attacks. I forget what the hell it's called. But it's basically just does that. It's like whenever this creature attacks, targets creature blocks it this turn. So it literally just like, get over here and pulls it. This blatantly is just like, cool. I see you've got a crazy army over there. I'm going to swing with my 4 dudes. This blocks this way, this blocks that way, this blocks this way, and the others don't block.
Yeah, no, the funny thing is you can literally just say, nothing blocks.
Yeah.
I just swing in. All your guys block my 1/1 indestructible Death Toucher. Even though technically that would only kill one of them, I think.
Yes.
Yes. But even still, because Odric has first strike, you can always put in...
Oh, you all block my useless 1/1 token.
It puts their commanders at risk. It puts, a lot of their more key pieces at risk. Like, their Seaborn Muse that they're never swinging in with ever or blocking with ever. Congratulations. Now it's blocking. How did that get there? Oh, my God. Like, it's great.
Now the
Definitely
Seaborn Muse is dead.
great. Now the Seaborn Muse is dead. But one thing you can use in order to actually save yourself from the Odric Menace is my white card, which is Sphere of Safety. It's 4 and a white for an enchantment. Creatures can't attack you or a planeswalker you control. Or a planeswalker you control.
My Chandra will be safe now, guys.
My brand. Or planeswalker you control. Unless a person plays X for each of those creatures, where X is the number of enchantments you control. So, right off the gate, it automatically says they can't attack you or planeswalkers you control unless they pay 1 because it counts itself. If you have a propaganda on the field, now they have to pay 4 in order to attack you because it's 2 for propaganda, 2 for this. If you've got another enchantment like Mass Hysteria or whatever, now it's 5 for the propaganda and this equaling 3. It's crazy. It's great. We always have just random enchantments floating around anyway. Why not?
Play this propaganda and Ghostly Prison, and you're in for a long time.
Yeah, it'll be
It's
7.
7, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, we always have random enchantments floating around. It's
Oblivion Ring, Grasp of Fate, these
Yep.
kind of effects.
They're just naturally just sitting around anyway. What, you're biting a Thassa or whatever. It's just sitting there. So, hey, maybe some protection. And you would be surprised, because people always, whenever they see propaganda goes to prison, they immediately freak out like, oh my god, we gotta take these guys out, or we gotta do something about this, because they know
Which
the
is kind of
card.
weird. Pillow forting makes people panic.
Yeah. They know those cards. Fear of safety is kind of one of those things where someone looks at it like, oh, well, what's X equal? Oh, it just equals 1. Whatever, I'll leave it alone. Who cares? Like, 3 turns later, all right, I'll swing it to you. I'll pay the 1. Actually, now it's 7? How? What? When? Like, it's great.
I played 7 enchantments.
Yeah, I played
You
7
didn't notice.
enchantments, They do nothing enchantments, but hey, they're enchantments.
It also counts auras, so if you're playing the Azorius Angel,
Bruna Light Alabaster.
yeah, if you're playing Bruna, all the enchantments on her will count towards a Sphere of Safety. So you can attack with Impudi and then sit back and relax as your opponents have to play like 9 to attack you.
Yeah. The downside, however, is if they take out this, it's probably a worse feeling than with propaganda. Because propaganda is like it's a consistent 2. You take out this, it could be like 7 mana goes down to 0. Like that's the official shields are down. Like it gets scary.
Yep. They destroyed the shield generator, and the X-Wing is coming down your trench.
Legit. What do you have for white?
Well, in case you want to stop the Sphere of Safety's nautical nonsense, you could always play Lapse of Certainty. 2 and a white instant. Counter target spell.
Yeah.
In white. If that spell is countered this way, put it on top of the owner's library and stuff into the graveyard. So it's a delay, true, and it gives them back, but it sets them back a draw.
It's actually
and
worse.
your opponents know what they're drawing and can prepare for it.
It's cool. I like it. The fact that it's a counter spell in whites, people aren't expecting that, especially in the mono white deck. You're like, okay, cool. I'm gonna board wipe your tokens or whatever. Awesome. No. Well, it's not a no. It's a maybe not a no. Someone drops an Elish Norn or some crazy thing or whatever. You're like, cool. Plus, it's just counter anything.
Yeah.
Countering anything is always good. It's just good. And it also gives you a full rotation, provided they don't have any card draw, a full rotation of the table for everyone to be like, okay, that's coming down. We know it's coming down. Psych Rift. I'm going to overload Psychotic Rift. Awesome. No. Do it on your turn. Like, something like that could just be great. And everyone knows it's coming.
Also, the conditions that the person will activate that spell could change by the time it gets around to them.
Yeah.
Because when they draw on it, they'd be like, I don't want to cast this now.
So let's say someone plays their Ganti, grabs your stuff, and then they go to cast it, you lapse of certainty, it'll go onto your library.
Or even better, you do this to their commander, and they're like, okay, I'll put it on top of my deck. And then you have them shuffle their deck.
Yeah, there is no replacement effect at that point because it'll officially have to go, because it's in the deck already. Shuffling doesn't require moving zones.
Yeah.
Green. Now this one, I actually changed it. Originally it was going to be something a bit more ubiquitous. I think that's how you say it, right?
Yes.
But I changed it because I remembered this card and I loved it because it's like our signature card. Costs 1 green. It's a 1/3. It's a spirit. Permeating Mass.
Oh, you and this damn card.
Whenever Permeating Mass deals combat damage to a creature, that creature becomes a copy of Permeating Mass. So, your Ulamog is now a Permeating Mass. Your commander is now a Permeating Mass. Everything is a Permeating Mass.
And what's very important to note is the fact that it turns the creature into a copy of the Permeating Mass. So if it's Ulamog, it loses Indestructible, it loses its Annihilator or its Shuffle effect. If it's Emrakul, it loses flying, it loses all of its other keyword things. If it's your commander, it loses all of it. Like, the card's gross. Like, I would very rarely use, like, a path or a murder or something on one creature that's not very important. That's something I would kill on sight. Just because all it needs is to hit one thing and survive. It's like a 1/3. So it's like, it can basically survive most little or crap, provided it doesn't kill the thing. Gary. It's like, cool, I swing in. I block with Gary. Awesome. Your Gary's now permeating mass. Then Gary goes and swings and attacks Eric. Cool. Now there's 2 permeating mass that one of each player has. Like, it's gross. It gets out of hand. I like it sometimes, but...
Make permeating mass indestructible and then watch the fun begin.
Yeah, because your commander becomes it. So you can't even, like, be like, oh, I'm going to put it back to the command zone. Because it doesn't actually die. It just becomes it. Nah.
No, the commander is your commander no matter what.
Yeah, your commander is your commander no matter what, which means if it does become a permeating mass, it will technically deal 1 commander damage.
Yes, and you can use the replacement effect and put it back to your command zone.
You cannot.
Yes, you can.
It's not dying.
No, if it dies.
Well,
as
if
permeating mass,
if it dies, then yes, sure. But as it's being hit by permeating mass, it doesn't change zones. It's not doing anything. It just becomes a permeating mass. It's gross, it's dumb, and I love it to death. But not as much as mine, which is Hall of Gemstones. 1 green for an enchant world effects. That's
enchant world.
Yeah, it's... Ooh, I have to fucking realize that now. So enchant worlds are weird. Technically, they are enchantments. However, because of their own text, there can only actually be 1 enchant world effect on the battlefield at one time. Now, back in the old days, that mattered. Nowadays, it kind of doesn't. Anyway, this one says, during each player's upkeep, that player chooses a color. Please choose a color.
Blue.
Awesome. Until end of turn, each mana-producing land produces mana of the chosen color instead of the normal colors. So in this case, every land will tap for blue. This is not an or even or like, as well as an effect. So if you choose blue, all of your lands produce blue. More importantly, everyone's lands only produce blue.
Say what?
So Hall of Gemstones turns everyone's lands into whatever color you say. Now, more importantly, people are going to be like, oh, well, I've got Chromatic Lantern. Congratulations. It still produces blue because Chromatic Lantern basically gives the land the ability to say, I can tap for whatever color I feel like. But this specifically says, whenever a land is tapped producing mana, that mana is the chosen color.
Producing mana, so you can still tap your Maze of Iths.
Or
use secondary effects on lands.
Yes, this card's dope. It's hilarious. This
is like the green version of Blood Moon.
Yeah, but unlike Blood Moon, where it's like this, everyone's a mountain, you can have anything else. This, it's hey, you can still cast your stuff. You just have to look at your hand and sort it by color.
Better hope your mana rocks have the right colors.
Well, here's the thing. It doesn't affect. It only affects lands. So your rocks are safe. Gilded Lotus, stuff like that, since or whatever. Chromatic Lantern itself can still produce color, whatever it feels like, but only your lands itself are kind of changed. I just like the fact that it hits everyone. What do you got for green?
Mine's gonna be kind of lackluster, but it is an important card to me, and that's Llanowar Elves. Surprisingly.
Just straight Llanowar Elves?
Just straight Llanowar Elves.
You
because
there's like 30 different versions of straight Llanowar Elves.
But like the OG, 1 green, 1/1, tap for green.
Now, which arts? Like, are we talking
the
about
one where he's got the sword above his head. I do not like the Freaky Brain one. Although the double cross swords one, the one that came out recently, is pretty sweet too.
Mm-hmm. That's been around since Return to Ravnica.
Yeah. The first time I ever walked into AU, I saw a guy playing Magic. He's playing what's now known as Modern, but was known back then as Type 1.
I got Type 1 Modern.
Yeah. And he was playing Elves, and I was like, what's going on? What's this game? Because I didn't know what Magic was. I mean, I was a little dumb kid. And
compared to a little dumb adult.
I'm a big, smart adult, Aaron. Thank you very much. So he explained the rules, and I acquired a love of Elves. I mean, it was part of the reason why Azori was my first commander ever.
Mm-hmm. Don't check his search history.
Bunch of Elves, green mana, a whole bunch of cool effects. I mean, I may have developed into a dirty, filthy spike player, but I still pay homage to my Timmy roots.
Switching over colors, let's go to black.
My black card was an interesting choice, I think. It's another ubiquitous card. Doomblade. 1 in a black, destroy target non-black creature. That's all it does. It's easy. It's cheap. It's an instant. It kills a creature.
People don't play enough of it. Realistically, like that's.
I own like 6 copies for no reason.
Yeah, but it's like we don't use it, and I feel like people should, because I mean, granted, in Commander, there's usually always, because of the multicolor stuff or whatever. It's like for instance, Corvald is technically a black creature because he has black in his pips and everything. Layla is technically a black creature.
Well, even besides that, in general, 1-for-1 exchanges aren't great.
Yeah, but if it's like a killing something, like, Murder is probably one of my... It's definitely up there with my favorite black cards, but, I mean, that's just a straight kill whatever you feel like.
You're telling me instant speed removal is not good?
No, it's good, but it's not great.
Well,
like, 1-for-1 is kind of a loss of tempo.
Okay,
Since you're expending a resource to get rid of one of their resources.
What about Path to Exile and
Swords
things
to
like that?
Plowshare.
Swords to Plowshare.
I mean, I'm not saying they're not good and you shouldn't use them. It's just that they're less effective than they should be.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, what's a better version of something like that? Of like Path to Exile or Swords to Plowshare?
I got one.
Well, there's not really
anything.
anything.
Blue.
There's
That's a
not
counter
really
spell.
anything better. It's just that you shouldn't stack your deck with these kind of effects.
Well, yeah.
Because
Unless
you'll
you're-
find yourself lacking.
Unless you're like full blown going into kill everything, and then in which case then sure stack your deck with like like if you're running the new Athreos, actual factual Athreos. I have to say that now because I screwed up last time, and whereas like whenever something dies, you get a counter onto it, and then you can just get it back. So just running Athreos, all white board wipes, like all of them, and then like just like every black kill spell. And then just kind of just running that. I do like Doomblade though. It's very, very cool. It's a very cheap, if someone can't afford to get the better removal or whatever, or if you're running mono black, you don't have access to Path to Exile, so for that sense, you don't want to be board wiping all the freaking time. Yeah, it's good. Piggybacking off of your Murder train, because I love it, I'm going to choose my black card, which is Victim of Night.
Oh, I love that card.
I love this card
It's
too.
worse than Doomblade, but it's the art is great.
I
The
feel like
flavor
this
is great.
this might be slightly better than Doomblade. All right, so it's
Actually, yeah.
It's black for an instant. Destroy target non-vampire, non-werewolf, non-zombie creature. So I love this card for several reasons. Number one, the art by itself is the best thing in the world. If it wasn't as... Let me put this way. If I had the money and really, really felt like it, I would have this as a playmat. I really would. Just because it's bloody, it's gory, it's like, this guy is legitimately having the worst day of his freaking life. The flavor text
The
is...
last day of his freaking
the last
the
day of his
last
life.
day
Yeah.
of his life. The flavor text, which I very rarely read. Do not touch a drop. Not yet. I want to watch this so-called Slayer's Last Crisis of Faith. Like, it's from Olivia, the vampire chick.
Olivia Voldaren.
Yes. But yeah, it's one of those things that it's great. Great flavor, great everything. And it is just a 2-mana kill something. Now, in Innistrad, where this actually came out, it was not played as much because that's all that was running around were vampires and werewolves and zombies and crap.
Oh my.
Oh my. But in Commander nowadays, there are no werewolf tribal. No one plays that. Just straight up no one
I mean,
plays
there is, but it's not good.
It's one deck.
No one
It's-
plays
It's one deck. There's only one deck that runs werewolves.
and no one plays it.
Yeah.
Vampires, people do run a few of those kind of floating around or something. Like, it's always hilarious when you're like, I'm going to cast this targeting that. Oh, it's a vampire. When did it become a vampire? It's always been a vampire. Since when? Like, it's funny with that sense.
Vampires and zombies are very popular tribes.
Yeah.
So
There's a
your
good
chance
chance-
of running into them is higher than most.
But here's the-
Zombies is literally the most popular tribe in Magic.
It's also the easiest to build.
Yeah.
Really? I thought it would have been elves.
No.
No,
elves,
actually.
elves require you putting in more money.
I meant popular, not money.
Popular is definitely zombies. Killing stuff,
Okay.
dead,
Yeah.
we're bringing it back.
There's a lot more zombie cards, and there are a lot more cards that do crazy stuff with specifically zombies.
Oh, okay.
Versus elves, it's like, you're
You
kind
have
of...
Azuri.
Yeah, you've got Azora. You're putting a bunch of your cards on the table versus zombies have the table and the graveyard to work with.
Yeah, that's true.
It's really great. But yeah, I mean, even in our playgroup or whatever, no one plays vampires, no one plays werewolves, no one plays zombies. So it's like this card could
Tiamat's a zombie.
Who?
The Murder King.
Okay, so that's one of your stupid cards.
It's my commander, so that's enough.
Aaron,
Yeah, it's true.
rude.
But the point is, it's a very, very cool kill spell, and I feel like it usually hits more targets than something like a Doomblade. But I do still like Doomblade. What did you do for your black card?
Well, with you guys killing things, I think I'd bring them back.
Did you choose reanimate?
No, I chose Animate Dead. When I'm black, enchantment aura, enchant creature in a graveyard. When Animate Dead enters the battlefield, if it's on the battlefield, loses enchant creature. Oh. This is the long text version.
One a black, you choose target creature from a graveyard and puts onto the battlefield. Animate Dead then becomes a enchant aura on this actual creature itself. If the creature dies, Animate Dead goes to the graveyard. If Animate Dead is destroyed, the creature goes to the graveyard. With World Gorge of Dragon, you can technically infinitely loop this. And it's a whole nautical nonsense with that. Oh, also the enchant creature gets -1/-0, but no one really cares about that.
Yeah.
When you animate dead,
Most
Hellish
people
no one
forget about that, and they'll attack and block with the creature as if it were normal. Mm-hmm. But anyway, this is another throwback from Yu-Gi-Oh! Days. I played Zombies, Book of Life, if you know what that does.
Yes, I do.
But yeah,
How do you make their cards? Broken.
Zombie
Make them broken.
throwback, Animate Dead's good card.
Yeah. So switching over the color list, I'm actually going to skip RJ and go to mine because we're talking about the box. We're talking about Teferi's puzzle box.
Boo. Dirty, filthy combo player, making sure people can't draw their cards.
No. Okay, so we're talking
Did you
about...
know Puzzle Boss is the reason that Leovold's banned in Commander?
I mean, Leroy's banned for a lot of reasons. Let's get real. All right, so Teferi's Puzzle Box is a 4-mana artifact. It says, during each player's draw phase, that player counts the number of cards in his or her hand, puts those cards on the bottom of his or her library, and then draws that many cards. So, fun thing to note. 2 things. Number 1, I prefer the 5th edition art. That doesn't actually matter to the card, but I just prefer that art. And number 2, you go to untap, upkeep, draw your card for turn, and then the puzzle box triggers. So you put the cards that are in your hand onto the bottom, and then you draw that many. Needless to say, this is just great with Locust God because, cool, I draw my card for turn, I get a Locust. Put 5 cards down, draw 5 cards, I get 5 more Locusts. Oh my god, just for playing Magic. Yes, obviously we have to mention Narset, where you can technically lock your opponents out of the game. I don't play Puzzle Box
You can also use Notion Thief and draw all the cards they would have drawn.
and basically lock them out of the game.
Yeah.
I don't play the box for those reasonings. I play it A for Locust God and B just because it's a fun card. In Magic, especially in Commander, we have a lot of thinking time where we're just like, okay, I'll do this pattern, then do this, then do this, and then then I'll swing it with that, and maybe he'll do this and counter it. You got a lot of thinking time. Sometimes thinking is good. Other times thinking is just boring. And Puzzle Box basically changes around the math. It's saying, hey, whatever you got in your hand, you either play it or you just lose it. Like, straight up.
And that's why people hate the Puzzle Box.
Well, here's the question. Why is it just because I mess with your hand that you hate the Puzzle Box?
I mean, people don't like stacks because they can't do anything. People definitely hate chaos for similar reasons. And that what they were going to do is now changed.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, the boss...
Sometimes it can irreparably screw up their strategy. I mean, that's why people dread the Aminatu alt.
I love that
Because
ultimate.
that is just the worst.
I've done that ultimate exactly twice, and it is
Once
hilarious
against me.
every time. It is so good every time. For those who actually don't know, Aminatu, her ultimate states choose left or right, and then each player in the reverse direction gets the permanence of the player in that same
Non-land
direction.
permanents.
Yeah, non-land permanents, basically. So, except for Aminatu herself. So, basically, you just take your entire board state, shift it to the left, and then you get the person that's on your left. They get their board state. You move it over. It's great. It's hilarious. It's chaos in non-chaos colors. And it's not that hard to get to either. But the box is great because it takes away strategies. It very much works well in something like Niv Mizzet or something that wants to draw cards anyway.
Like Nekusar.
Like Nekusar will work even better with it. And it removes their strategy. The downside, obviously, is the fact that you can draw them into a better hand they would have had, which does kind of suck and happens occasionally. But hey, whatever. It's the box. I love the box.
I don't mind the box. It's yeah, I gotta change my strategy, but when have I ever hated doing crazy stuff?
Yeah. What is your colorless thing that you chose?
My colorless card is Worm Coil Engine. I freaking love this card, man.
I like how you chose all spike-related cards.
6 mana, 6/6. Death Touch Lifelink. When it dies, you create 2 3/3 worm tokens. One with Lifelink, the other with Death Touch. Way better self-replicating card than our signature card, by the way.
Yes.
And also, this isn't a spike card. It's just really good.
Now,
Not every good card is a spike card, Aaron.
that's not entirely wrong.
I played Birthing Pod when it was in Standard, and the penultimate piece to the Birthing Pod combo was Worm Coil Engine. And a 6/6 Death Touch Lifelinker in Standard back then was not really stoppable. And
Yeah.
if you did stop it, the 3/3 to deal with.
Yeah, 2 3/3s at that. I like the flavor of it because even in the art itself, you can kind of see that it's technically 2 of them weaved in with each other. So when it breaks, it's like, oh, they basically split apart. Oh my god, look at that! Yeah. It's a good card. I hate how much attention it draws because it's like as soon as it drops, everyone's like, okay, we need to kill that thing. No, dude, you can't kill that thing. Otherwise, you get 2 more. Yeah, but the 2 more are less than the big giant one, and he's gonna have to kill it anyway. Like it's a serious conversation piece because everyone's like, okay, what are we doing? Can you touch it or not?
Yeah, I play it in my Brutaclad deck.
Oh, God.
I've Rite of Replicationed Worm Coil Engine.
Yes,
I've
I know.
gotten
I was in that game.
6 of them.
Yes, I know. I was in that game.
And then
Someone stupidly decided to use a freaking Day of Judgment thinking it would fix the problem. It did not fix the problem.
I had a bunch of them. It doubled what I had on board.
What'd you get for your last one?
I'm gonna do Horn of Greed. Costs
Nice.
3 mana. Whenever a player plays a land, that player draws a card. It was a staple in Lord Windgrace because I played a lot of lands, so I drew a bunch of cards.
Yeah, it's great. The downside is that it is also symmetrical effect, so your opponents will also get this effect.
Oh yeah, no, playing against a Muldrotha player who was when I was using this was horrible.
It's good. I like it.
It's good with that Cauldron that allows you to play an extra land per turn, but every time you tap a land, it returns to your hand.
Or even something like Crucible or whatever, where you're just like...
Crucible of Worlds.
Yeah, Crucible of Worlds.
Crucible of whatever.
It just gives you like it's like I don't know. You could choose a land or whatever. I don't know, creature. I guess I don't know. If it's a magic card, yes, then grab it.
You can
It's
play
whatever.
a thing from the graveyard. I want that uncard.
It's whatever. Like,
Just like you can play. I don't give a shit. Something from your graveyard.
Jesus Christ.
Play something from Exile. I guess. Your opponent's deck, sure.
Well, speaking of whatever, it's that time again to jump over to our step, which we like to call Last Call.
Last call.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
All right, so first things first, we're the realist because we have 102 subscribers.
Yay!
You guys are completely awesome. It happened, ironically, while we were recording for the Chris episode, which you guys heard last week. It's great. You guys are amazing. We love you guys to death. It's awesome. Next milestone is probably 500, but that's besides the point. So let's just put that over there. So we want to thank each and every one of you guys for subscribing. You're amazing. We also want to mention, I don't know, I'm just happy about it. Like, you know, it's
Oh, sorry, I'm really tired for no reason.
you're good. I'm
caffeine
just really happy about it because I didn't think we'd get this far. Realistically, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, 20 people, and then that's
Look
gonna be
how
our
far we've come.
like 20
how
people.
far I can come.
That's gonna be like
Sorry.
our limits, and then it was just like, oh yeah, no, it just keeps going up and up and up. It's staggered around like 40 for a bit, and then just out of nowhere blew up. It's amazing. Speaking of amazing things, we want to mention our friend Chris over at CM_3_ over at Twitch. His link is inside the description box below. If you're curious of who Chris is, he is a streamer that streams Magic and a bunch of other stuff. Currently, he's just streaming Dead by Daylight a lot. he was on our last episode last week talking about just kind of like the commander staples and stuff that naturally you should have, like, how many ramp spells, how many card draws, stuff like that, which was amazing. We do also want to mention the fact that we have a Discord as well as a Twitter in the description box below, or both. In our Discord itself, we have this exclusive thing which we're calling the Chaser episodes, which ironically are not actually chasers, they're technically mixers, but that's besides the point. It's basically like 10 minutes of us just talking about stuff. Sometimes it's death, sex, and the weather.
And rock and roll, too.
We didn't actually talk about rock and roll yet. Other times it's Chris basically just kind of chewing me out about how to politic correctly.
That was fun.
That was actually a pretty fun episode.
Did you listen to that one?
I did.
Good.
Yeah, it was great. Into the Discord itself, we do also. I'm going to be probably releasing the full unedited audio clip of the Chris episode. So the original episode itself was like 2 hours long, and I shortened it down to basically an hour and 4 minutes. So there's a bunch of stuff we cut out. That was basically Chris Relay, and it's not the fact that we cut him out because we didn't like it. It's legitimately just because we didn't have the time for it, and we did kind of get a little off topic with a few different things. So if you want to hear that full...
A few. I was here for that recording. We got off topic every single time, every single subject.
But it's because it flowed so nicely into other things. So because of that, I'm going to release a full unedited version of it. So if you want to listen to that, jump over to our Discord. Also, over our Discord, we have what we call the ideas section, which is now unlocked. I'm not sure how it got locked. It's fine. The ideas section, which is basically if you have a cool idea or anything in that sense, like, hey, you guys talk about this. Shoot up over there, or even just, hey, I need a question on this deck tech or an idea, or what's the full interaction between, like, Hall of Gemstones and... I don't know, Cabal Coffers. Like, it happens. Ask us. Senpai will usually answer, or one of us will usually answers, or something in that sense.
Send pie. We'll usually do it. Last but not least, we want to mention our friends over at tcgplayer.com. In the description box below with everything else is our affiliate link. It will link you over to TCG Player. You're going to be buying cards anyway, so we want to help the channel at the same time. Anyway, guys, see you in the next episode. See ya.